What up, world? What up, everybody? What's going on? It's your boy. It's the one and only. It's the kid. It's the nonprofit sector connector. A little groggy. Gotta be honest. I'm a little groggy. I hit two events last night. It was like old school Tommy D. It's like young Tommy D who used to go out running around at galas and networking events to try to hit 2 or 3 in a night. Last night I got invited to see a movie called Unseen in collaboration with an organization called DDI here on Long Island. And DDI is an organization that serves people living with intellectual developmental disabilities. Shout out to Jennifer Carpenter Lowe for inviting me out to the Bolton Theater out in beautiful Bay Shore, Long Island. And then after that, I shot back out to Nassau County, out to Port Washington to go to an event for an organization called the Nicholas Center. Last week here on the show, Stella and Nicole from the Nicholas Center were on Philanthropy and Phocus. That's an awesome organization doing great work. So I'm a little, the old nonprofit sector connector is a little groggy this morning, but you know what? We're going to get through. We're going to fight through because you know what? Sometimes, and my friend today is Brandon Phillips. Sometimes you got to play hurt, Brandon Phillips, right? I mean, I always say you got to grind it out sometimes. I'm not exactly hurt. I just only got like 7 hours of sleep, man. You know what it is? So it's no big deal. Before we get into it, let me just say hello to Brandon Phillips. What's up, man? We got everything. You're here, man. We worked it all out. What's going on, brother?
How you doing, bud? Yeah, we figured it out. So
We,
glad to be here.
we figured it all out. Shout out to MJ Padone, always looking out for her friends, her clients, and her boy Tommy D, always making these connections. The organization is Polo for Life. We got a lot of stories to tell. I'm excited. I think I was coming back, gang, you know where I am. I'm in the attic, right? So I got to come out 2 flights up from the kitchen, just below the roof of the house in the attic, right? So as I was walking up the stairs before, I was like, I don't really know much about polo. I said, I know there's like men and I guess sometimes women on horses and they got some kind of stick and they hit a ball. And I'm like, first of all, I never wanted to drive a stick, like a car with a stick, like a manual transmission, because I thought that would be too much work. Now you're trying to tell me people are able to ride a horse, swing a club, hold their balance, not fall off the horse, and actually then do something that scores a goal. So we're going to learn about apparently polo is more than just like a Ralph Lauren shirt that like I would buy at TJ Maxx. But we'll get into all that because Brandon has been in this world a long time. This show is all about storytelling. It's all about bringing nonprofits together, helping make connections, and as I like to say, helping nonprofits tell their story and amplify their message. So, Brandon, I really want to go back in history, tell your story. I have some notes. Our friend MJ sent me some things. But man, there's nothing better than having somebody tell their own story. So way before we get into the upcoming event that you have coming up in September here on Long Island, our hometown, let's talk about you, man. Who are you? Where you're from? What's your story, man?
All right. Well, I'm originally from a little town called King City, just north of Toronto, Ontario. So I'm Canadian,
Sure.
American now. Obviously, I have dual citizenship now, but I grew up in just north of Toronto on a horse farm. My family's all was in the horses, show jumping. I have some uncles that are Olympic show jumpers for Canada, cousins. Grandmother was a big horsewoman. She got inducted in the Canadian Horse Hall of Fame how many
Awesome.
years back, and so we just grew up as a horse family. My father played polo for fun, my brother as well. So we had a small farm and grew up with horses. But being a Canadian kid, all I really wanted to do is play hockey.
This is what I was going there in my mind. I'm going, where's the hockey story, man? Like,
That's all I wanted was hockey. I did that since I was 4 years old and played was playing everywhere. I got up to the AAA level. But horses was something in the summer, something we kind of did just we always had a few horses on the farm, grew up riding, but never ever thought I could make a career of anything with horses. It was again always hockey driven and hockey, hockey, hockey.
yeah.
Um, and then little switch came into my life, and when I was 14, 1992, um, it was June 7th. So if we go back, it was let's say the Thursday night, June 4th or whatever. Yeah, I had a polo game, then I had a hockey game. The Friday I had a rugby game on the day before. Saturday I had a soccer game, and then woke up Sunday morning and my left leg was swollen. And I was like, all right, it's obviously a sports injury, something. I played 4 different sports in 4 days. Something happened. But it was really aching bad on a Sunday morning. I was like growing pains or something weird. Finally, took a while, and I was like, it's not working. So I woke my parents up. It was early in the morning, and my mom looks at my leg, and the top of my leg, the blood vessels had started to burst. Like there's this little, she's like, what's going on? The possible blood clot. So we go to the local hospital that morning, and they do a bunch of tests, and they're like, it's not a blood clot, but something's not right. So they then sent me to the Hospital for Sick Children, which is a very famous hospital in Toronto. So we're about 45 minutes away. And they said, get down there. Something's not right. So we head down there. They look at my leg. They start doing tests. Long story short, they're like, we feel a mass in your abdomen. And long story short, it was basically a softball-sized tumor that had pushed on my left ureter, which had shut off my left kidney probably for about a month, but didn't know because my right kidney was working and everything felt fine. But it got big enough that it pushed on the lymph nodes of my leg. So my leg wasn't draining fluid. And that night, it literally, whatever sports or whatever the last few days, it moved it and my leg started to swell. So it wasn't draining fluid. So they went in, they literally, I remember them telling me, so we're going to go in and do a biopsy on this mass, but from what we're seeing, it doesn't look good. If it is cancerous, we're at the same time while you're under, we're going to put a portacath in your chest, which is a little box they stick in your chest and connect to your main aorta and your jugular. So that's where chemotherapy would get connected because the drugs are so strong they couldn't just put them in your veins in your arm, they blow the veins. So all this was happening within the first, I don't know, 20 hours, telling you like, we don't know what this is, blah, blah, blah. As it came out, I woke up, remember feeling something in my chest, and I was like, uh-oh, this isn't good. And they're like, yep. So what they told my parents was very good chance I'm going to lose my left kidney. Very good chance I'm going to lose my left leg. And I have about I think that the odd, they told my parents it was a 50-50 shot if I could live I had about 6 weeks to probably live.
Oh my God.
It was a 50-50 chance if this, we're going to be able to do something. So I hadn't heard everything except the 50-50 chance at the time. Obviously they kept that from me, but they said it's a very good chance your leg's going to have to be amputated. Your left kidney, almost for sure, you're going to have to take out because it's basically been a balloon for a month. And all this happened, 24 hours earlier, I was playing soccer. So it was a big shock. Getting to get to that, turned out they started me immediately on a chemotherapy regimen. I remember it called the Berlin Protocol, whatever that means. It just sounded nasty to me. I was like, all right. And they literally said, we're throwing every possible drug at you, drugs that aren't even, approved yet, but we have to try everything. We're throwing, the exact words, we're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at you. And saying we're going to, we need an immediate response or, you're going to start losing parts. So,
Wow.
and you think it was some advanced system. I mean, they'd come in with a measuring tape around my leg, and they're just like every 2 hours measuring my leg.
That was how that was the test to
That
check.
was their test. Is like if it gets to a certain size, we're gonna have to, your legs gonna
Oh
have what would
my
happen.
God, man. That's
So all this was happening within the first, I guess now we're in 2 days probably there. Blah blah blah. It started hitting me with all these drugs, and they said the chemotherapy. Remember the doctor telling me saying, hey, you're gonna feel like we're beating you up, and the second you feel better, we're hitting you with the baseball bat, and the second you feel better, we're gonna hit you again with another baseball bat, meaning the cycles that you go through, because it was a whole week of administrating the drugs. It
yeah.
wasn't, you weren't leaving the hospital for a full week. It was all these types of drugs going in, and while the drugs are going in, you didn't feel bad, but then they said, okay, every 2 weeks you're going to do that. The problem is you'd last probably 2 days. I mean, it was the first 30, 35 days I was in hospital. Just them doing, I had stents, I had bags on me. I mean, what all the stuff they had to do to put a stent through my ureter, trying to free up the kidney. So I had a bunch of mini surgeries, them just trying to keep me together. Then the chemo started kicking in, and thank God it was started to shrink the tumor, which started to help things. So after that, they'd say, okay, every 2 weeks you do this, but the problem is your blood counts, your immune system, everything goes to nothing. And I'd get home for a day and a half, 2 days, and you'd spike a massive fever, and then it was a rush back to the hospital, and then they'd spend a week basically trying to keep you alive, and then they get you out of that, and you'd go, okay, I'm feeling good. And then it was literally, okay, you're on the fourth floor, you're feeling good. Well, we'll put you back to the sixth floor and we start the next round of drugs. So he was right about the baseball bat thing. It was just purely as soon as you started to feel life, it was, back with spinal taps. I think I had 22 or 23 spinal taps at the time because they were treating your whole body. So they literally, every other cycle, they take cerebral fluid, the fluid that's on your brain, test that out of your spine, and then put chemotherapy in it. So how they explained to me was like, we're blowing up this tumor. It wasn't operable. They couldn't get it. It was attached to it.
They couldn't go get it. So they
They
had
couldn't
to.
go get it. It was stuck to everything.
Yeah.
So they said, we're blowing it up and we just don't want pieces to start ending up in your
Yeah.
brain and your legs and this. So
So that's what the testing was for, Brandon. That was testing to see,
yeah,
it going
what
anywhere.
type it was, how can we get at it? And then they came to the decision the only way is going to be through chemotherapy. And we just got to hope it doesn't spread.
Yeah.
So that was June 7th, 1992 is the day I walked in the hospital. Got home sometime, I don't know, I'm guessing end of July for a couple of days. And then that happened for about 4 months, get home for a day or two, back in, keep you alive, feel better, send you up to the next floor, do a week of chemotherapy and go again. And the side effects were pretty horrid. Um, there was a certain drug I'll never forget called adriamycin, and it would attack all your mucous membranes. So, when you have a canker sore and you got a little white
You'd have sores all over your mouth, right?
mouth, tongue, throat. So I was on feeding tubes a lot of the time because you couldn't put anything in your mouth. I'd sit there with just ice.
Yeah.
The only relief was holding ice to your mouth.
And that's when you have one of those canker sores, it's torture. It's just like it's an
Yeah.
open wound. And I
Your
know,
whole mouth was white. It was,
oh,
waking up, you're waiting, trying to fall asleep and you move your lips and all of a sudden it cracks and blood's pouring out. I mean, that was the worst side effect
yeah.
out of everything besides just feeling
Because nothing you could do about that. I mean,
nothing.
nothing you could do.
Yeah, I'd have be on morphine drips for 7, 8 days at a time. Wouldn't do anything. The morphine would just make me goofy, but the pain was always there. So it wasn't fun. But it was working. It ended up obviously, thank God, shrinking everything. They never did go in and need to do a surgery. And then after that, those 4 months of chemo, they just check every, CAT scans every week, and then every 2 weeks and every 3 weeks, and just making sure it didn't come back. And that was luckily in 92, and so far we're good to go.
Yeah,
So that kind
yeah.
of kicked my ass, and that was when I was 15. So that my hockey career I went back to playing hockey, but I mean, I'd lost 40 pounds, and at that age, I mean, I was already a small kid. I
Yeah.
think at the time I was 5'2" and 130 pounds. And then I'm playing against kids already that are 160, 180. Then I went down to 104 pounds. So then trying to come back, and I ended up playing in a lower league in the small town and played a couple more years, but I was kind of behind the ball at that point. And so then I started turning to the horses more because I mean the size didn't matter there.
Wow, we got so much to talk about. We're gonna take a break in a moment, but this is so much here. I gotta just say to you, childhood cancer, brutal, 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 brutal. Last week in my studio, we went in a North Shore TV and I did a show. I had a buddy of mine, Adam Wood, come on. He's involved with LLS, Leukemia Lymphoma Society here on Long Island. And then we had set up that his two daughters, Penny and Lucy, were coming on the show. Lucy's in remission. She's 11 years old. She's been battling with this stuff and just the sores that you were talking about, the mouth sores. While I had both Penny and her sister, what a great conversation the three of us had. And they both gave me these bracelets. One says Penny Power. The other one says, Sunrise Camp, which is Sunrise is a camp here on Long Island. Some of us know, that for children with cancer and their siblings, a very, very special organization. Shout out to Sunrise. We've never connected you on the show, but it'd be great to have somebody on from Sunrise come through. And brutal, brutal stuff, Brandon. I mean, and you fought and you fought, and we're going to talk about what Polo for Life is all about, what the organization is doing. But I think we leave them on this spot right now. So we realize the hockey career is not where you're going to go. But there's horses all around, right?
Yeah,
And
always with horses.
and apparently you can swing an instrument and hit something with it. So because from the hockey stick to the polo, what is it actually called? Is it a club?
A mallet,
A
mallet
mallet.
or a stick.
A
Well,
mallet.
we call it, I mean, mallet's the exact term, but I mean, we call them, have
Yeah, I
sticks.
mean, I call my golf club sticks. I go, let me grab
Yeah.
the sticks. So I
Yeah.
get that. All right, so we're gonna go a quick break. We'll be back in 90 seconds. Brandon, thank you for sharing your story. We'll share some more about that, your childhood, and some of the challenges you overcame. By the way, I got to make a quick shout out. I'm on the board of directors for Horseability, which is right out here in our neck of the woods. So,
Mhm.
have you been to Horseability? You've been to the farm to see the horses out there?
I actually have, yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Katie McGowan, founder of Horseability, was the first guest ever on this show.
Wow.
If the math is right, you are the 220th guest on something that I just came up with as an idea. So
Very-
shout out to Katie and the team at Horseability, and we're all Mets fans out there, so let's go Mets. All right, so we'll be right back. Quick break.
All right. Thank you.
Are you a conscious co creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
He's right. Cut through the static. Join Tommy in the attic. But that's like a play on words. Like, don't show up at my house, please. Because I probably won't be here because I'm not in the attic that much anymore. But anyway, all right, that's the song. Welcome back to the show. The show today is featuring a new connection of mine, Brandon Phillips. Polo for Life is the name of the organization. I shared the website while we were at break, but if you want to check it out, you go to poloforlife.org, spelled out, POLOFOR life.org. So no number, the actual words there. All right, so Brandon, that transition where you realize, I always kind of give folks, I get a laugh with people. I go, everybody's sports career ends at a certain time. Sometimes it ends when you get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Our guy, number 5, David Wright, New York Met, got inducted. His number got retired, number 5 at the Mets. His career ended with spinal stenosis a bunch of years back, probably earlier than it should have. My soccer career ended when I played in 8th grade, and then I went to Chaminade High School and didn't make the soccer team. And that was the end of my soccer career. So everybody's career ends either at the Hall of Fame or earlier on. So you have all these, you have horses. You said you grew up with the horses around all the time. Hockey was where you wanted to go. You said soccer, hockey, rugby, and polo. Was that the 4 sports you played right before, like in those 4?
Yeah, that particular week, but with school, I was in the baseball team and rugby team, basketball team. I played a bunch of sports, but hockey was played for the town and the city, and that's what I, obviously every Canadian kid, that's what we wanted to do.
100%. Before we go anywhere, I gotta this another game that I'm not all that familiar with, but I've seen guys play it. Dude, rugby's out of control. Is it as crazy as it looks? I mean, there's basically they're wearing no equipment, and it looks like it's just as tough as football. What?
No, it is, but there's what I learned from. I mean, there's certain ways that you're hitting guys. Obviously, not only you want to hit them, but to protect yourself. So it's not as vicious. I think, with so many pads on in football, you're running at any angle and you're just trying to get a piece of someone. Where in rugby, you got to be a little bit more how you hit them and where you grab them and things. So I only played a couple of years. I wasn't really big into it, but it was something the school had, and my friends were playing, and I was like, all right, let's do this for a couple months.
Yeah, no
Um,
kidding. Well,
so,
it
but
sounds
it
like there's
was
more
cool.
finesse. Is there more finesse to that game?
I
Because
think so. Yeah, it's not as I think so. Yeah, there's a lot more strategy, a lot more things. I mean, I was learning every day. I was like trying to figure out what had, to me, there was more rules in rugby than there was in any sport I played. So I was trying to figure it out as I went, but it was just something I did with, at school. It wasn't a major sport in my life, but it was something I was doing. And that particular week, I played a game and
and you had all four
figured
games
it
that
out.
week. Well, I mean, man, like we got some time to get into this, and we're going to talk all about the organization and your success as as a winner in polo. But what was that like with your family going through that? Your parents, obviously. Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I have an older brother and sister.
Yeah.
Uh,
So that what would what do you remember? I mean, so I think when you said you were 14 in 92, I was 1492. That's they say that's when Columbus found this country. But when you said you were 14 years old in 1992, I realized I did the math. I was born in 78, so I was 14 in 1992. So we're pretty much the same here.
77, I was born. Yes, I was turning 15 that
All right.
fall.
There you go. So, what was that like for your family at the time, man? I mean, as much as you can remember, because you were battling, you were
Yeah,
fighting.
my family was incredible with it all. There was never negativity. There was never, I actually always say this, that there was not 1 second that I felt that I was going to die. This to me was I was angry. I was pissed off. I had a summer now organized with polo that I was going to start doing more. My father finally said, we'd always share horses. He said, this summer you're going to take all the horses, start playing more. I had tournaments lined up, and it was
Oh, so
literally just
it's like a bird. This is like you
this
screw.
was a pain in the ass. I was
This is
just
ridiculous.
angry.
I got plans, man. What are we
Yeah,
doing? Right? Yeah.
exactly. So for me, it was how I say, it was a test from God, whatever reason I got tested for, and it was a battle, and I had to win it. So it was never a chance. I didn't even think that I was gonna die until probably a month, 6 weeks after everything was over. When I went back to school, I went, extra help with my math teacher. And he asked me, he goes, he actually said, did you think you were ever going to die?
Wow.
And that point was the first time I was like, it was never a mention in my family of death. There was never a mention of this isn't going to work. It was
Yeah.
going back. My family was told many times that we don't know what's going to happen. They never said it to me. It was always very positive,
Sure.
sense of humor, laughing. Everything was very, there was obviously real low times, but my family was unbelievably supportive. My brothers, my sisters, my mother was never left my side. So
I believe, honestly, man. Like again, it's so much of. I have a friend of mine who is probably about our age, and he had cancer, and it was getting bad. It was real bad, when he was young. I think he was 17. I think he was, and he got Make a Wish. He got to meet Derek Jeter and a bunch of the Yankees. Like it was that kind of like bad, right? And he has shared stories about what he imagined, um, like the cancer, the tumors like exploding with dynamite, and he would pray on this and imagine this, and he
mhm.
shared this in public and
That's
stuff.
exactly what we did. My mother would do that when they watching the chemo going in. We'd say, okay, we're blowing it up.
Yeah,
We're exploding this. We're every time anything happened, you're okay. We're getting it out of it. It was a lot of mental things, which we're not that psychology family. We're not that. You were
yeah,
kind of very meat and potatoes kind of family, but it was a lot. My mother sat with me and said, okay, that's it. When this, imagine what it's doing to you. The
yeah,
spinal taps, the things they do, trying to prep me for it, the painkillers of this would just be worse. So I ended up doing no drugs before, and it was a mental thing. My mom would sit with me. We're on a beach. We're walking down a beach, and put your
yeah.
mind somewhere else. And before you know it, the procedure was done, and you're
Dude,
like,
there's so much of that I
yeah,
think is part, like you're talking about the positivity, and they never discuss death with you or anything. And there's so much where you're focused, in my opinion. I mean, again,
yeah.
I'm not,
It was
I
mental. It was because there was physically and from every doctor, and to this day, when I tell doctors what I had, they say you shouldn't be here.
yeah. Well, then there it
So,
is. So if that's the outcome, right? That and you are here, obviously.
yeah.
Then it's so much of that is at a different level where it's the vision and the positivity and all that stuff, Wow, what a special story, man. Thank you. Thanks for doing what,
Yeah,
going out there and telling your story, and then really let's talk about your career as a polo player. I mean, I joked about Ralph Lauren because like I don't know much about polo, but I will be coming out to see you because like this is again, this is Long Island, and I know this stuff goes on. I've just never been, connected to it. So now I want to come
Yep.
out and see you play. But apparently, from looking at the website, you're pretty good at this game, I guess, huh?
Well, this been it's my 30th season playing professionally, so that's the only
Yeah.
job I've ever had. So I've been
All
able
right.
to fight through it.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So give us the game. I mean, how many people on horses? I honestly don't. I'm going to Google and look at like video of it, but it's like, there's a net, a goal similar to other
Yeah,
games?
so a polo field is a massive area. You can fit 9 football fields on a polo field. So it's 300
Wow.
yards long by about 150 yards wide. It's basically like 12 to 15 acres of perfectly flat field.
Yep.
Well, you hope it's perfectly flat. The nice places are perfectly flat. There's a lot goes into a polo field. Very expensive to maintain because it's not just cutting grass. There's a lot to it, like any sport surface.
Yeah.
So you have that size surface. You play 4-on-4, 4 players on each team.
On that massive thing, it's only 8 players, and wow.
But think about it. We're going 35, 40 miles an hour on horses, hitting a ball that can go up to 100 miles an hour. So that field feels quite small at times.
Yeah, no kidding.
There's not a lot of space out there.
Because you're moving that fast. Yeah, you're all, yeah.
And you got 8 horses going at that speed, trying not to kill each other, but obviously trying to beat each other up at the same time. The field gets you're always looking for space. Let's say that.
Okay. So again, there's a ball. You got a stick. You got a mallet. Where?
Yeah. So at the end of the fields, there's 2 goal posts, no crossbar, just 2 posts that are I think 8 yards, 10 yards apart, 8 yards apart. So there's no height limit. You just got to get the ball like a field goal. You got to get the ball between the goals. There's no goalie. The rules are made up more for safety, like you're not able to go 90 degrees and cross in front of people and this. But there's a lot of contact. You're allowed to basically body check, hit each other, but you can't come in greater than a 45-degree angle, same speed. So obviously, if you're going 10 miles an hour and a guy hits you at 45 miles an hour, you're going down. So it's all about safety of how you can hit and maneuver each other and push each other around.
So that tells me there's some kind of official on a horse.
Yeah, so there's 2 officials on horseback on the field, and then there's actually what they call a third man, one guy sitting on the side. So if the 2 officials disagree with a call, they go to the third guy and he decides, foul or no foul.
And he's watching video? I mean, he can't.
No, you're up there. He's up on a little bit higher than normal, but you're able to look pretty good.
Wow.
As big as the field is, you're able to see pretty much, you're not losing people at a distance.
Yeah.
But that's basically it's very similar. Like, I always compared it to hockey too. It's like, you got to learn how to skate to play hockey. Well, you got to know how to ride to play polo. So it's, a lot of the horsemanship comes a lot of it, how you're maneuvering these horses and they're trained. I mean, these horses are treated better than we are as far as how the training and they're athletes, the exact what they eat, what they drink, everything we look after them quite well. That they're our lives, because without them we can't do much. So
yeah, no kidding.
7 days a week with them.
How many horses, like a guy like you who's an athlete, this is your job, this is what you do. You have a stable full of horses like that?
Yeah, I have, like, right now I'm in New York playing. I have say 11 horses that I'll have for the summer. I've got a few on break, but I have a total of about 15 that I personally own.
And
The
now
team
those
I
are
play for also has some.
sorry to interrupt you, that those are just like I guess my question really is those, and you said the team owns some, but I don't want to say this the wrong way, but like, do you feel like, oh, I want Rocky today and not?
Yeah, no, every horse is, I mean,
you decide like
yeah, every horse has a different ability. Obviously our goal as a professional is trying to get all the horses to be the best, everyone, you want the best one, but that's a very difficult to do, very expensive to try to do too. So you're constantly improving your horse string, trying to find, wean out the weaker ones, trying to always stay with better ones. But yes, you have a limit. Like, each game you'll play anywhere from 8 to 10 horses. Each player will play about 8 to 10 horses a game. There's 6 periods in a game. They're 7.5 minutes long, but what we do is you're constantly changing on the fly, like hockey. You'll have
Yeah, right.
spares on the side, and
Cruise out, and they got the horse ready for you.
Horse the horse, get on the next one. You'll have people holding horses on different parts of and the ends of the
This is
field.
fun, man. This is like like fun even for watching. I think this is like
It's
pretty.
extremely fun to watch. It's very fast, very physical,
Yeah.
very aggressive. It's not the pretty woman. Let's go stomp in divots and wear big hats and
Yeah.
watch a bunch of royals hit a ball around
Oh,
and have tea. So
yeah, is it like it sounds like it's a tough game too, man. Right? I mean, like,
extremely physical. Yeah, you take a beating. It's something that's very fun to watch. It's a great spectator sport because it's the action's there, and especially when you come to games, you're literally, most fields you're tailgating. You park your car 10 yards off the boards and you sit in the back of your car and watch it. So it's very casual, especially here where we're playing in New York, playing Greenwich, the Hamptons, and then here in Old Westbury at the Meadowbrook Polo Club, and it's all very welcoming, family oriented, just like show up and watch.
It's interesting though, because it's the places, the names you just dropped, like the communities you just dropped, are upper higher level society, socioeconomic communities. But it also sounds like you're talking about, and I looked and it says, general admission, tailgates, $50 per car, VIP tickets for one of the upcoming events, $200 per person, and you got food, open bar.
That's the special events. I mean, in general, tournament games, there's nothing, it's just show up.
Not like bougie. Yeah. It's like you could just come through and it's a nice day.
Yeah, though that thing is up for my charity event, which is obviously priced up, but in general, games are free admission. And
is that right? Oh, yeah. Really? Oh, no kidding. All right.
Yeah. So there's a special days like Greenwich will have their Sundays 3:00. That's the public day where they'll charge for you to come in. But there's games all week that it's open to the public. Here at Old Westbury, all the games are open to the public anytime.
I had no idea. This is miles away from the attic. I actually went to school at SUNY Old Westbury, man, where Horseability is. Again, living up here in this part of the world, there's horses everywhere we go.
The team I'm with, and the farm that I'm at backs up to SUNY. Yeah, we're right there next to SUNY.
Very cool. All right. So I'd love to come out and see a game for sure. We're going to talk about the organization. We're going to talk about the work you're doing, and we will talk about the upcoming fundraising event, which is one of the things MJ's like, Tommy D, you got to meet Brandon. I got to get you guys connected. Got to get him on the show. She told me about you months ago, to be honest with you. And our calendars didn't hook up, and they did this week, and we're here. So, all right, we'll take a quick break, man. When we come back, I want to talk about the organization, what exactly Polo for Life is doing. And obviously, I think it probably has to do with the beginning of the story, but we'll talk about that when we come back. Right back. Tommy D, Philanthropy and Phocus, the nonprofit sector connector. Right back. Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy and Phocus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Hi, I'm Linda Marsanico. The A Train to Sedona is a memoir about my journey to love and compassion. It's also the name of my new broadcast on Wednesdays at 12 noon. When we are spiritual, we embrace possibilities and ideas, which strengthen our mind, body, spirit, health, and wisdom. On the A Train to Sedona broadcast, I plan to interview guests who embrace these expansive practices. Join us on Wednesdays at 12 noon on Talk Radio New York City.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
What's funny about life, gang, is, you talk about somebody and they just pop up in your world. So I'm talking about Katie McGowan earlier, Horseability, first ever guest. And she texted me a photo because she's at an event, because Horseability is the charity partner for LIE, the Long Island Elite, this year. So she texted me a picture of herself with our friend Shannon Boyle, who's the executive director of New Ground, which is an organization ending the cycle of homelessness in the veterans community. Yes. Tragically, there are veterans here on Long Island who are homeless and their families, and we got to work on these things. So shout out to Shannon Boyle, New Ground. Shout out to Katie McGowan from Horseability. Brandon, I'm looking at these pictures. I should have shared these while we were break. Actually, I'm going to share this while you and I are talking. Um, it's what you got. What's the equipment that you guys? It seems like it's not, you're not like really wearing like a lot of protective gear, man. It's like looks like a nice shirt and some pants and boots. That's about it.
Yeah, you wear a helmet. We wear protective goggles like Oakley glasses. They're just protect your eyes.
Yeah.
And then boots, knee pads, and that's it, really. I mean, there's not much you wearing besides that.
I see that. All right. All right. How competitive is it to get into this? Like if somebody wants to start playing, like is it similar to other sports like where there's different levels, like, junior
Absolutely. Yeah.
stuff? Talk about that and then we'll talk about the organization quick.
Yeah, I mean, it starts right from the beginning. Here at Meadowbrook Polo Club, we have a polo academy. So for first-time people, even for riding lessons to starting for the first time, we literally have a wooden horse that you sit on and you can start learning the swings and stuff without actually even getting on a real horse. So we start from the beginning. But there's all levels. There's all levels of polo. There's just recreational fun weekend warrior stuff. Like that's how I grew up in Toronto. I mean, there was no such thing as professionals or this. It was, it's a family, very family oriented, a lot of father, son, father, daughter, play together. It's obviously, to be very honest, it's not cheap. I mean, keeping horses is not cheap at any level.
Yep.
So, that's why you tend to get clubs in maybe those wealthier areas because that's people are able to keep 6 or 8 horses in the backyard. It's not something that's, it's just the logistics of it. That's why we have a group of school horses that we keep here, and that's what's for people to come that you don't have to own a horse to take lessons. So we have horses here to start taking lessons and get people into the sport.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that piece out there. That's why it's in certain pockets is because of the cost of actually keeping horses. Like that is not something that
unfortunately horses just aren't cheap, and it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's not your skates you put in the closet and say I'll see you back in October. So
right,
you
get them sharpened when you need them, but they don't need to eat and drink. Yeah, if you take 100%. All right, so let's talk about this organization. How long has Polo for Life been around? I mean, we're talking now. Your cancer's been in remission for now 30 years, 30 some odd years, right? We talk about how young you and I are right now. How far along did you say, you know what, man, I got to do something to give back, and where was that?
So basically finished with my cancer at 15 and a bit. Started to hit back into polo quite serious. I obviously had those times to figure out what I really wanted to do, and horses and polo was something that jumped in. At 17, I became a professional. I got hired by a professional team, and moved to Florida. I didn't want anyone to know my past. I never wanted to speak about it. I didn't even want to see a bald person on TV. I'd change the channel. I wanted nothing to do with it. I remember going back playing at Palm Beach Polo and Country Club. I mean, that was where the big polo was when I started. And I remember going field 1, there's 5,000-6,000 people there in the stadium. And the announcer starts telling my story, and I wanted to die.
Oh my God.
I didn't want anything to, I just didn't want to talk about it.
They didn't know that was like not your PR wise.
No, I never spoke about it. In my mind, I just felt that,
but I'm saying even the announcers didn't know that you didn't want that out there.
No, because I just never brought it up. I was like, people aren't going to find out. There wasn't really internet and stuff there. I was like,
it's a different time.
Nobody's going to know about it.
30 years ago,
Canada, how are they going to find out?
30 years ago, you figure, and back then you could not find stuff out unless they had to go digging. So, oh God, so now you got to play a match after they just announced this thing, and you're like, shoot, I don't want people to even know this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
then that was for a while. So literally it was my early 30s when it was the International Polo Club with there in Wellington, and they approached me. They said, hey, the LLS, the Leukemia Lymphoma Society of Palm Beach, reached out. They want to do an event, and so they said, do you want to, you're obviously a good candidate to do this with them. Do you want to start an event? And I started thinking about it, and I was like, yeah. I was like, I think growing up now, I think it's time that I start giving back, and if I can make some money for some people locally, of course. So I started with the LLS, and we started an event called Polo for a Purpose. That was about, I guess we did about now where we had our 10th year this past year. And it was a put on a polo game. At the time it was just a luncheon, some auction items. And, the very first year we did a small event and raised 40 grand. And I thought, wow, this is great. As it's progressed, there's been, we've raised over, I think we're close to 4 million now, over the last 10 years from this event.
We got to stop. We got to stop there, man. Hold on. Pause. $4 million.
Each event and now is averaging. This past event we did in March, we raised 715,000 that day.
What?
Big year was 2 years ago. We raised over $1 million that day.
That's huge impact. That's millions of dollars going, and then most of that money or all that money goes to LLS.
So obviously, this back a few, we did it with the LLS for 3-4 years, and my thing was, we just write a check to them, and it was theirs. And I started to get more and more involved, and I wanted to see where our money was going. I wasn't big on the research. To me, was just a term. I was like, I want to touch something that we're doing.
What does that actually mean, right?
I want to impact families. I want to see the patient that's getting what we're doing. And the only way I could really be in charge of that or take control was I needed my own foundation to be in charge of the money. Because at this point, I was just a figurehead that was just putting on an event and write a check. So then we started Polo for Life. I don't remember how long ago now. Maybe it was 5-6 years ago. Where then now Polo for Life is the foundation name, and we put on this event called Polo for a Purpose. So at that point, I was able to now control where the money was going. So I separated from Leukemia Lymphoma Society and went to more local places in Florida, which was, which we still do. Our beneficiaries is Miami Cancer Institute, Kids Cancer Foundation, which is in Royal Palm, and POST, which is Pediatric Oncology Support Team. And they're helping families directly, and families come in for anything from, getting through from therapies of for the families to talk through whatever they need, to certain clinics, to, it's from start to finish of helping families. So I then made them my beneficiaries, and we whack a check up 3 ways and hand it over to them in Palm Beach. And those, we put events on, or not events, we put programs with them that I can see. We started equestrian programs that the kids can go out and do stuff. There's educational stuff as far as tutoring. Kids might be out of school for a year or two, so we can support that. And then our big thing, which we started, was during COVID. We started seeing, obviously when your kid has cancer, usually one of the parents has to quit their job to look after the kid. COVID hit, second parents were losing their job, and people just weren't making their daily bills, their mortgages, their rents, their car insurances. So we'd step in, through these beneficiaries, would say, hey, this family's having a tough go. And up to 3 months, we'd pay their mortgage. I'd pay their creditors directly, their rent, from insurances to, we even give gas cards. There was families that were 10 minutes from us, from Palm Beach, Florida, and they're 10 minutes away and can't afford gas to get their kids to therapy. So we kind of stepped in to be a financial support for a lot of these families, which we still do, along with the programs now that we run with our beneficiaries.
Yeah. Listen, man, I just want to say I'm grateful for all the work you're doing. No one's got to do this. I think we all are supposed to be doing this, but nobody's got to do this. There's plenty of people who have a platform, who have access to donors and things like that, who just don't do it. And so I think it's important for us to not just assume, oh, great job. No, seriously, Brandon, the work you're doing and your vision and the vision of your team. I showed, I shared the website again, polo4life.org, guys, polo4life.org. But, the team and everything like that's real stuff. You made a decision, you have other obligations, but you made a decision how important this was. And I'm grateful. So thank you.
Yeah, no, it's very important. And it's something that, I don't feel that it's something I think I have to do. I was luckily, whatever reason, I was allowed to get to here. And now it's like, you have to do something. I got given this chance. So I was very happy to do it. And obviously my biggest thing too is keeping expenses as low as possible for the foundation. I have one employee, Barbara Cook is our executive director. I would never in a million years take $1 from this thing. People ask, oh, this is, you're on salary. It's never. I figured that my credibility goes to crap the second I start trying to make money off of this. So this is purely something I do on the side to families need this, and I know it from what my family needed. I know what they went through. I know obviously what I went through, but it's a whole, when a kid gets cancer, the whole family's affected. So we're very big at making sure that siblings and everyone's involved in everything we do.
Yeah, I can't wait to introduce you to some people here on Long Island. We'll take that offline. We'll talk about it just with my relationships and connections and things like that. Now, just we're gonna go to a quick break, but you're up here. You've mentioned Florida a lot. So is that what
Florida's home?
Florida's
I'm there 8 months a year. We play there from pretty much, I'm there October till June. That's our main season, starting in December till April. That's where the US Open is the biggest stuff. A lot of the biggest tournaments we play in the world happen in Wellington, Florida, during the winter, which is about 15 minutes from Palm Beach.
Yeah.
So that's home. And then the team I play for, Jakari's polo team, we play there. And then the owner of our team's from Old Westbury. So we come up here and play here in New York for 4 months, and then head back to Florida in October.
Is that like a different type of season when you come up here to play?
Yeah, complete different season. Usually different teams will have. I obviously stay on this team, and then we might build a few different players around us when we come up here. Because it's kind of how polo works in Wellington, Florida is like the best of the best of the best are there in the winter, all around the world. And then everyone disperses all over the world for the summer. You can go to England, to Spain, all through the US, California. Santa Barbara has a big league right now. And then New York. So because the team owner is from here, this is where we travel in the summer. There might be years that we go to Europe for the summer or stuff like that. But right now we're here.
I got one quick question, then we got to take a break, and then we come back. We're going to talk about the upcoming events and things like that. But you say 4 players on the field at any time for each team. How big is the roster that's there that day? Like that's it. That's the 4.
4 of us. You may have a spare in case someone gets hurt, but generally it's the 4 of us. Polo is a small world too. There's rules that you can grab a guy if someone gets hurt. I've been I'll tell you a story even when we get back from last summer in Greenwich on a tournament and get pulled out of the stands to play for.
And you were literally hanging out and they needed somebody. They go, oh, it was like that old movie Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. Melon, get your suit on. We need you. You remember that when he did the triple
He had to do the triple Indy.
He did the triple Indy. You remember that? If you guys don't know, I can't help you out.
You gotta know the triple Indy.
Yeah, you gotta know the triple. He goes like this with his armpit. Remember? Let's take a break before I totally go bananas here. All right, we'll be right back. Philanthropy Focus.
Were you an essential worker during the pandemic? If you needed to learn stages of epilepsy, did you depend on advocates? Did you use new innovations to cope with mental and neurological issues? Maintaining high quality of life and keeping good mental health are what we all strive for. I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each week top healthcare influencers, professionals, and innovators answer these questions and more. Stay tuned on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will continue to be frank about health with all of you.
Ready to serve up success with a splash? Hi, I'm Bruce Kramer, a.k.a. the Corporate Cockroach.
I'm the Renaissance woman, Angie Snowball.
And I'm your strategy doctor, Dr. Meltex Desange, inviting you to serving up success with a splash.
Join us as we shake things up with real talk and real strategies centered around awareness, action, and accountability.
And yes, there really is a cocktail involved. Please join us and sip your way to success.
Serving up success with a splash, where wisdom meets happy hours. Cheers!
Cheers.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Join me in the attic. Join me in the attic. Gang, if you don't know the movie Back to School, I can't help you with much on this planet, but you should Google it. Melon, get your suit on. We need you. All right, so they said, Phillips, get your stick. Get your helmet. We need you. What happened there? Tell me that story real quick before we talk about the upcoming event.
It's happened to a bunch of players and it happened many times in his career, but because polo is a small world and obviously polo, other teams are watching the other games.
You hang out, you support your guys and stuff.
Exactly. And we all have on a handicap system too, where each player is rated at a certain level. So when someone gets hurt, you need to get somebody that's at that, and you can't just grab any player. So it was last year here in Greenwich, the East Coast Open. There had to have been 5,000-6,000 people at the final, and I'm just there watching with our team, and we're having a good time. And 2 minutes left, right before the last period started, a player fell, got hit, broke his collarbone, and he was the same handicap as me. And all of a sudden I went, oh shit.
You knew right
away. I hope my phone doesn't ring. I'm here having a good time. We're hanging out, we're with family and this. Next thing you know, my phone rings from a friend of mine who's the manager of the other team. And he's like, hey, you had any drinks? I'm like, no, we're good. He's like, come to the tent. We need you. And you only have a 15-minute window for them to put
find someone. Otherwise,
find someone, or you play 4-on-3.
Oh, come on, really?
Exactly. So all of a sudden, I'm in a crowd of people, and I was like, I gotta go. Like, what do you mean? And I jumped the fence or jumped the rope, and I start running across the field. And they're like, where are you going? I was like, got the phone call. So I went in and played the last chukker of the final.
I mean, you have your own gear somewhere there, or
no? I didn't have any of my stuff. I borrowed another friend that had his stuff there. That we were the kind of similar size of boots and all that and helmet, and they basically threw it on and hurry up, we got to get going and jump in and play.
Big question: did you win?
We ended up the team was down by 1 goal. When I got in, we lost by 1 goal. So nobody scored for the last period I was in. So I was like, okay, I didn't lose it for them, but I sure didn't win it for them either.
Well, you know what? There was an extra body and an extra horse that were on the field that wouldn't have been on the field without you. So that's important. All right. So we got to talk about what's upcoming for this. What do you call the event that you're having on?
So we started, like I said, my event's always in Wellington. We do once a year. And then last year I wanted to move it to do it in New York. So my goal is to have a Florida, New York, and a Los Angeles one.
Okay.
Los Angeles was supposed to happen this fall, and the exact club when the wildfires happened last year burnt the club down.
Wow.
So we were about 80% organized for that, and obviously had to postpone that. But New York, we started last year as our first event. Again, it's nothing to the size that we do in Florida because we're just trying to get it in. And so we use the Stony Brook Hospital,
Sure.
Their pediatric cancer ward. So that's our beneficiary up here.
Yeah.
So everything we make goes directly to them, and we've started programs with them. So last year was our first year, did well, small amount. We were able to pay for the event and give a nice donation. And then this year we're trying to grow, and this will be our second year here in New York.
All right. So checking my notes, that's Sunday, September 7th at Bethpage State Park from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Right?
Yes. We had it last year at the Meadowbrook Polo Club in Old Westbury. Due to some stuff here with the permits and trying to make things happen, it's getting a little complicated this year, so we've moved it to Bethpage.
All right.
So we're doing it a week earlier.
We can get people, so we're kind of doing some updates and stuff like that with the dates on the website and things like that, because literally a lot of this is moving parts right now. Excuse me. Yeah. But once you guys get that updated, they can go right to poloforlife.org and click on events, right?
Yeah.
And then
we'll have everything updated there. But yeah, literally the last few days we've had to pivot and start moving things around. We're again not from this area, so learning the ins and outs and trying to keep the locals happy. So we're probably
yeah. Well, you get like incorporated villages and you get towns and cities and stuff. It's extra fun. So here's what we're gonna do. I want people to know poloforlife.org. You go there, let's say by Monday, you'll be able to get on there. So this is Friday as I stand here in the attic right now. But the other thing is, you go there and you'll see, and all the details will be there. So you're looking for sponsors for the event, right? Anybody who wants to get their name out in lights in front of, and you're looking for people to attend. I mean, I've never been. I want to go, man. I mean, I have 4 small children. I was gonna say I have 4 small people who live in my house, but they're not even that small anymore. They're getting big. But I want to bring my crew out there because this is something different for sure. And it's, for us, it's a home game here on the island, So we want to check that out. So other than people coming to the event, you're definitely looking for some sponsors. And you mentioned your executive director. Is that who they should connect with?
Yeah, just online with Barbara Cook. So we'll have a sponsorship package for people to, either just to be a part of the event, or we have a sponsorship that can sponsor the teams that are playing, sponsor some of the players. sponsor as far as, branding and stuff on the players. We have a lot of branding at the field and our websites and social media. So we're putting together we have a nice package of things like that people can get some nice exposure for the event. And Bethpage Park, State Park, that's the polo field there, has been there for a million years. My very first year when I played professional, my very first US Open, we played the final there in Bethpage in 95. So it's a very historic field. And the 7th is the last day of the season there because the Ryder Cup's coming there right after. So they're actually going to use the polo field as a parking lot. So this is our last day to put on an event and use the facility until the Ryder Cup kicks in.
A lot of things going on in September. By the way, you go to barbara@poloforlife.org. You don't go to. You send an email to barbara@poloforlife.org. Barbara will get you sorted out on the sponsorship side of things. A lot of things happen in September. You get September 7th, this big event. You got the Ryder Cup, as you mentioned. And then you got September 26th. Your boy, the nonprofit sector connector, is being honored at Death of a Gangster, a mafia marriage murder mystery event at Captain Bill's out in Bayshore. So don't forget to check in with me on that, TommyD.NYC on the Instagram, or TommyD@Philanthropy and Phocus.com if you want to hook up and sponsor that event. And you got to be there, man. It's like 1920s kickback, and I hope, like I've been saying, now it's out there. I hope I don't get whacked that night, because I need to promote the event. I need to be the big deal. So also, just a quick shout out before Brandon and I split. Quick shout out, the Vanguard Benefits Hall of Fame. We've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks. We inducted the first 4 finalists in the Vanguard Benefits Hall of Fame. Employer awards, very important. We're all about Vanguard Benefits. We're all about culture. Sunrise Credit Services, Central Medical Management, Rise Life Services, and Cerebral Palsy in Nassau County, 4 of our clients, Hall of Famers. We're excited about that. Brandon, leave us with something. What do you want people to know about you, the organization, different things like that?
Now that we're here, we're spreading across the country, hopefully, and that this is my life and passion. I know I'm getting to use my my job as being a polo player as a vehicle to get around to trying to help people that are struck with things that I was with. I know people families going through, and happy to try to help.
100%. And thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for being here this morning. I need some swag. You got the hat, you got the lid. I'm sure there's probably some t-shirts and some hoodies. But I will tell you this, man. I see these polo shirts. My buddy Jeff On, who owns the New York Rise, which is a women's softball team that plays out at Hofstra University. I was just at the game Monday night. He got me a New York Rise shirt with a Tommy D on the back with a big number 6. So I'm not saying I need a customized piece of swag, but I would like to see how I can get that. And I know how to write a check.
I got you.
I know how to write a check. So I would like one of these polo shirts so I can root on your squad. But it would be fun to hang out, man. I'm going to be at the event. Thank you, MJ Padone, for always being in my corner, looking out for me and bringing me great relationships and great guests. Brandon, I can't wait to meet you in person, bro. I will see you on the 7th at Bethpage State Park. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, make it a great day. This has been another In Focus production. I'll see you next Friday. Bye.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.